Be dying over time, but let's see what I've come up with in my little presentation here. I'm going to present to you a case story about something I did with my strategy course last year. It's a third-year foundation course in strategy that runs in 7 classes, 4 of them in parallel and 1 online. The same structure, basically. And I made a comparison between, in the learning experience, between the class that I have in Bergen on the west coast of Norway and the online class. And the reason why I did that was to find out, are there any systematic differences when you have the same person in the class and online? And to find if there are some elements that you could build upon when you are changing your curriculum or improving your course or whatever the case might be. So what I did very practically was to compare the courses. Where I made a survey to the students, and I compared the courses on the textbook because we had a new Norwegian textbook started last year. And I asked them about how they liked the theme videos, how they liked other videos that we had, interviews with industry people from, for instance, one of the chief executives of the Scandinavian Airlines. What about the content of the lectures? What about the quality of the lecturer? And what do you think about the face group we established? What do you think about the learning management system we had? We ran some tutorials online. What did you think about that? And we ran other tutorials on Padlet, which is sort of a notice board that you can have, that you could sort of pin your questions to. And this is sort of a book that develops over time. So we had, at the end of the semester, we had more than 500 questions and answers in that book. And for those of you that are not familiar, we are running quizzes with Kahoots, which I'm proud to say was a Norwegian invention. And we are doing a lot of Kahoots and throwing out chocolate bars to the winners and making a lot of fuss. But it's great fun. And last but not least, we did some traditional lecturing online. Now, what did the students say? I made this survey, and as you can see there's a scale from 1 to 5. And I noted out some of them, as you can see, with a red dot. And those marked with an asterisk there, I could sort of, with a t-test, say that there's a significant difference. The textbook was, the online people liked that better than the classroom people. The videos were, they accepted those. And the other videos as well was more appreciated by the online students than the classroom students. The Facebook group was, as you can see, I'll come back to the lecture content and quality later. The Facebook group was, as you can see, very close. So that was sort of an expectation, both for the classroom people and the online people, that we would run a Facebook group. The tutoring online was the learning management system was sort of an established standard anyway, so there was no difference there. But the tutoring online was, as you can see, dramatically different. Because it says itself, really. That's sort of banging in an open door, but it's there. The tutoring on Padlet was also something that we introduced to the classroom students and the online students, and that came out about the same. The Kahoots were very popular. Lecturing online was of course, more popular among the online students. And as you can see, the total approval of the quality of the course was dramatically different between the online people and the classroom people. And this made me wonder, why is that? How can it be so? It's the same guy, it's the same curriculum, the same videos, same everything. But the difference must be within the audience, of course. So that's what, so I came to some conclusions. Why are the online students more satisfied? And of course, there is a difference in age, maturity, and backgrounds. The online courses were also much more females than males. That could be a factor in itself. And also the online is regarded as a more modern approach. Because when we did these online components into the classroom, the students sometimes felt that this was something that it shouldn't have been there. We are here in a classroom. Why the hell are you putting us online? So because some of the students looked at that as sort of a waste of time, especially when we did 2 hours of lecturing in the classroom and the last hour on online tutoring. They said, well, this is nonsense. So so the blending is more challenging for the students in the classroom if they come from sort of a classroom environmental setting. Now, what is planned and structured from the outset, sort of the psychological contract between the students and the professor, that works well, even with the large classroom. And the Padlet is a very good example of that. That was appreciated across the aisle. But the classroom students were, because of that setting, less flexible. They were in a sort of a classroom mode, which makes it more challenging to do blended activities. And online students can concentrate more. They have less disturbances. There are nobody next to you is surfing on an interesting site on YouTube or whatever. One experience that I have with online teaching is, it sounds like a contradiction in terms, but I find that you get closer to the students through the chat that comes. We use Adobe Connect to do our webinars, and that works extremely well. So even if we do a traditional lecture with the chat line open and answering the questions as sort of on the fly, we feel that we are also, as the teacher, that we are getting closer to the students. So I'm going to delve more into this this year, but I just updated some data for us. This is a classroom from Oslo, and I measured specifically what the quality of the webinar was, still on the scale from 1 to 5. And as you can see, the webinar quality was 4.61 with a large classroom. So they are getting used to it when we plan it more specifically. And does it help you in your learning? 4.13. Thank God, it helped. And for the webinars online, it was 4.7 and 4.54 for the same quality, for the same questions. So I'm proud of that because it shows that we are moving in the right direction. So I'm going to do a lot more of this over the next year. I'm going to turn around some of the old concepts and try to introduce some new modes. And of course, video works, especially when you make a title like this. Here you get a whole curriculum in 15 minutes. So you can see the peak there. That was the day before the exam. And you know, Norwegians are known for what we call skippertak, which is the meaning all hands on deck at the very last minute. So as you can see, the peak here, 3,600 among 2,000 students. So you can see there the exact exam date, the day after the peak. So what are my homegrown advice for advancement of blended learning and online? Well, I greatly encourage using thematic videos. Make recordings of 5 to 7 minutes on a theme. And use social media as much as you can. And think holistically. That means that you are planning the course from start to end, and put a lot more resources into webinar tutoring, especially with the large classes. When we run classes up to 250, 300 people, it works, believe it or not. But you have to stay flexible. You have to have your ears open, and you have to adapt along the way. And stay close to them, be available, answer them on Facebook, and then they seem to be satisfied, as some of my numbers indicated. So, that's it. Best of luck.
Thank you.